So yeah, my talk is the art of making better games, diversity and ethics in games studios. So as you already know, I'm Marina. I'm the creative director at Three of Caps Games, which is my own company. It's based in London, UK. And I'm also the lead game designer of Dordogne for Angers Sequoia Studios, based in Bordeaux, in France. So yeah, I'm a game designer, and I'm going to talk to you today about the games industry, a super healthy one. So hey, so that we live in work in a games industry that is known for being super healthy. We all have super healthy people, no crunch, no stress, no depression, nothing. And this, whoa, actually we can maybe have some crunch and depression sometimes, PTSD, anxiety, stress, broke culture, and lack of diversity. So oops, yeah. Actually we have all of these in the games industry. Nothing to see here. Please disperse everyone. So what's the solution from the work environment point of view? There is something that we can do to tackle this problem from our games studios. So yeah, I mean, actually it's far more from the magic. So here there are some tips. um, this is all the stuff that I learned while I was not only leading the team at Three of Cups Games, but also working from since the last 3 years in the games industry, that I saw many not. So yeah, so let's go to the first one. So empathy. This is important not only for leading a games studio, but in life. It's a very complicated skill to train, but it's very useful. And like stuff, even if they are difficult, that doesn't mean that we are not able to train that and to improve, as with everything in life. So the first thing is empathy towards your colleagues, empathy towards your bosses, empathy towards everyone. We are all human. That's the next point, actually. And it's very complicated to live and to go work if we don't keep in mind that we are all human beings and that we all have bad and good days, and bad years and good years. So that's super important to keep in mind, to have empathy and to train that. It's very difficult, like, even though I'm talking about it, I'm not an expert on empathy. I also have my weaknesses, as everyone. So but the important thing is that you are aware of the things that you need to keep improving, because that's the only way that you are able to improve them. So then the next point, that I already talked a little bit about it, it's keep in mind that you're working with human beings. So yeah, that's fundamental. It may be weird that I put it there because it seems so obvious, but it's not obvious. So we working in the last couple of years, I noticed that some people think that you are a machine. Like, about, well, in creative works, this is not a machine thing. So in creative work, you need to have time for feeling good yourself, for eating, for sleeping 8 hours, or the hours that you need to be a proper human being, to spend time outside and to grab lots of nice things for your awesome games. So that's very important. And anyway, if you have like a very mechanical work, I don't think that it's possible to do anything if you don't feel well. So that's the next point. Healthy people in leadership roles. I mean, obviously, I'm not perfect. I'm leading my team, and I also, as I said before, I have my flaws. So like, the good thing is that I consider myself a person that does lots of autocritic. So like, obviously, I make mistakes all the time, but the good thing is that I do something that is that take feedback. That's super important. And obviously sometimes it hurts, because we all inevitably wants to be perfect in some way or another, but that's impossible. And the good thing is that we can learn and try not to make the same mistakes over and over, and to in the along the path to hurt other people, because that's many times what happens in work environments, that we all have kind of little traumas because of a boss that was terrible. So um, that's why it's important to have healthy people in leadership roles. And I think that that pass for having people that take their time to spend time with their family, that are home, that have hobbies, that uh, that are able to feel good physically and emotionally. But also, that doesn't mean that we are not going to have good years and bad years, as I said before. That only means that you are aware of the problems that maybe you have in your own life, and you don't transmit them to the people that you work with, or at least you are able to be open and to say, see, like, I'm have today a bad day, so if I do something that is not typical of me, I'm so sorry. So I think that we, even people in leadership roles, would should be able to share their flaws and their problem. It's not a matter of sharing your personal life, of course, but it's also, we people don't know if you are having a bad day if you don't say it. Well, maybe some people are more obvious than other ones, but normally you need to tell them, because otherwise they wouldn't get it. But that's the thing that I will talk about it more later. It's that feeling good and having healthy employees is not, from the business side, they people in business normally say that that's not something that generates money and revenue, so they don't care about it, because it's better to have lots of people feeling like shit, making lots of products that they can sell, so they are receiving the money, better than have maybe one product that is amazing and they will receive lots of money, but not as much as if you have tons of minions making things for you that you anyway are going to receive revenue for. So that's a problem, and that's probably capitalism. So, but the thing is that from the games industry, I think we all can make our tiny actions. Above all, this is a call for people in leadership roles, to don't make your team feel like shit, even though they are not perfect, because that's not a way of uh, teaching anyone, even if it's people that need a little bit of training or something like that. So then the next point is willingness to help everyone to progress. What does that mean? So basically, is that people in jobs that they don't see that there is any way of progressing or promoting or improving in their positions. That's what people takes normally for changing their job. So if you want to keep your team, you need to give them a reason for staying, right? So if you treat them like shit and you don't give them any possibility of promotion, it's not it's not possible that anyone will stay there for so long. So apart from having the healthy environment that we already talked about, it's good if you are able to give a reason to the people to go to work every morning. Obviously none of us like to work. I mean, I love my job and I love making games. But obviously, when it's 8 a.m. in the morning, I hate games as much as everyone. So, it's not a matter of, passion, like when you have your passion as your job, all the days are super fun and you are not working. That obviously is not true. But it's true that when you like your job and you feel fulfilled and you feel like heard and listen um, in your job, it's things are different, and you go to your work in a different mood, and you work in a different mood, so you make better games because you feel different. So that's super important. And then my next point is help everyone to be better as a human and as a professional. Probably work, or jobs are the place that we spend most of the time in the week, because we spend at least more or less between 5 or 8 hours there every day. So if we don't help each other, and if we don't listen each other, and if we don't make each other to feel better as a human and as a professional, and we don't help each other to improve, what are we doing? Now, this is not a matter of making games and that's it. So it's a matter of also knowing other people, living other experiences, and at the same time, living those experiences will help us to make awesome games for the public. So it's super important that we, as leaders, or even just like as a colleagues, if you are not in a leadership role, to help everyone to feel their best and to uh, i'm always um, I'm always saying that I don't like competitive work environments. I don't feel that for being a competitive person you are necessarily going to make better stuff. I think we need to be collaborative, and if the day that all of us put our skills together for making better stuff instead of competing and step on each other, it's gonna be a better world and a better games industry, and of course better games as well, because you can see when the team is putting love and passion to a project, like in comparison to a game that where everyone feels like shit. So maybe, even you probably are going to think, well, like, AAA games, they look amazing and probably the team don't feel super good. But the thing is that if they already make those awesome games, feeling bad and crunching and being stressed and depressed and with PTSD and a long list, imagine what kind of games we would have if people feel fulfilled, listen, uh, hydrated, uh, eating well, having good mental health, having good physical health. So that's also important that work placements start thinking on having all the services available for the workers, um, services for mental health, services for physical health. And, like if you need to push deadlines, I think you push deadlines. This is the same stuff as not saying what you need in work because you have fear. So it's not always easy for everyone to speak their minds up to a boss or a leader. But if a lot of people, if the public also are conscious that for not pushing a deadline, there's lots of people working 16 hours per week, and it's not making the game better or anything, just all the contrary. What would happen if those that community will say to the developers that they prefer to have a deadline pushed and those people to feel good to make an awesome game instead of crunching for reaching a stupid deadline? So, I know that stuff is not as easy as it sounds, but I think if we all start looking at things in a different manner, we all can make together a change. But if we don't even reflect about it, it's going to stay the same. So, we can all make tiny actions every day for changing things. And the last point is to have a diverse team. I will talk in deep a little bit later about this, but basically is that you can have good games if you don't have a diverse team. And if you have 5 people in your team and you are all guys, cis white males, what I mean, maybe you have an awesome game, but it's not going to be as much as awesome as can be, because probably the experiences. It also depends on the kind of game, I guess. But always, diversity is always better. But for some games, you see that you can see from so far that the game has been made by 5 cis white males, because they are all the same, and like the experiences that they tell are all the same, and the ideas are all the same. So when you have a diverse team, one person from one side of the world, other person from the other side of the world, one person living A experience, another person living B experiences, it's in the game, even if it's just a game that is not maybe narrative driven or emotional, like the games that I usually make. I think that makes a big difference. So I think even if you have a big company, you should consider to change your mind if you don't have a diverse team, because it's really important. So then this is a book that I wanted to show to you all. It's called An Everyone Culture. It's by Robert Keegan and Lisa Lascaux-Lahey. So it's the subtitle, as you can see, is Becoming a Deliberately Developmental Organization. So this is the book that I've been reading for the last couple of months because a friend recommended it to me. This is the book that says and teaches how to develop a healthy work environment, how to make people progress together, and also how to make people feel better as professionals and human beings. So I recommend to you all. It's super useful, and it comes with cases, practical cases where you can see why this book is super important. And as just looking at the cover, you can see that this talks not only about cis white males, but also about lots of people and different cultures. So then my next point is how to lead a team with love, kindness, and respect. So these advices are valid for small companies and for big companies. And the first long point that you can see there is like if your big company can be redirected towards an ethical structure, there is something very wrong with your company. So you need to change the whole structure and probably leadership. What does this mean? Like many times, this happens a lot in Spain, but I think it happens everywhere. That people don't change anything in their business structure because they said that they've been doing that for like always since the company foundation in 1532. So they've been like for centuries doing the same. But that's not an excuse for not changing things, you know? Like, okay, you've been doing the same, but things are changing. So, you know, you are able to change your structure. The only thing is that you need to be willing to do it. So, you know, like, um, this is this is above all about diversity and stuff that we are seeing these days in the games industry about all this Ubisoft thing and people saying that women don't sell games and stuff. Like, you know, like I can really picture a 50 years old white male saying, oh, we don't make women in video games because we never done it before, so you know we are not going to obtain any revenue of it. So this is the same as leaving a company. You don't change things because you've been always doing the same, but that's stupid. So you know, it's just change it, and obviously change the people in leadership. Um, yeah. Then the next point is ask your colleagues how are they doing. This is super important. I hear my last mentor Calomander with lots of time saying that for him it's super important to ask people how are they doing, and I think that that's true. Like many times we arrive to our workplace and we don't even ask the person next to us how are they doing, and sometimes just a how are you makes a big difference in how the environment changes in your job. And I think it's an habit that we should all practice more. How are you doing, you know? Then last point would be that as a leader, be open and create an atmosphere where no one feels they need to be strong all the time. Let others to show their weaknesses too. So this is basically that I think a healthy work environment is a place where people can arrive and if they don't feel good can cry in the middle of the office and no one is going to say nothing weird. So you know, I think that a healthy work environment is a place where people trust their leaders and where if you are having a bad day, you can go to your boss and to tell that person what's going on. And maybe if you need a mental health day or if you need to go home because whatever, you know, like if you are not feeling good, it's reason enough for telling your bosses that you need that day for you. And yeah, that's, you know, this is kind of like the dream company that I have in my head, and it's something that I try to practice in Three of Cups games. Then a little bit more of feedback of tips is take feedback. You are not perfect. So this I already talked about this before. It's very important for me. It's sometimes very difficult to take feedback because I feel that when I'm taking feedback it's because I'm not doing something good, so that person thinks that I'm doing it like shit. But the thing is that they tell you because they have another thing in mind and they just want to let you know. So you know, take feedback is always positive, and there's always going to be that monster in your inside saying, oh, they are saying that to you because you're not doing well. But it's not true, and you need to uh, kind of looking objectively what why are they saying that to you. Then this is something super useful that a friend advised to me: have a one meeting with everyone each month, 15 minutes. So this is something that I've been doing with Three of Cups games, and it's one meeting where we just talk about how are we doing, and I tell my team how am I doing, what I'm doing, if my dog is howling or if not. And you know, it's not the time for talking a lot about the company, but also we always have some minutes for me asking to them if they are happy, if they need something from me, if they need to change something, if they are having good mental health days or whatever. So it makes a big difference. Then make an effort to know about every single team member. And yes, means absolutely everyone. So that's super important, even if you have a big company, I think it's important to get to know more or less the people you are working with, and then be there for everyone, even if you think that they don't need you. I think that's what I said before as well, and it's very important to me that all the team knows that I'm there for them, whatever they need, and it doesn't matter if it's not related to the company. Actually, I'll ask them to tell me if they are not having good times, because it's very different how we make work. If there is a team member not feeling well, it changes everything. Then the recipe for making better games. So, team members feeling good with their physical and mental health, leaders that know how to take its team potential to the max, relaxing environment. A good leader is never who screams more, but who listens better, stay humble, and listen to the team and the players. These are my 6 tips for making better games. And, like, I don't know that if they are super effective, because I'm still making my first game, like entirely by my team. But the thing is that probably people feeling like this will make better games. So then this is super important to me, diversity. This is obviously a joke. Look at all the diversity we have. So it's a white woman, and it's not diversity at all there. So this is a lot about Three of Cups games. In Three of Cups games, we are a diverse team. We are going to be more diverse once we get the funds for, finishing our game. But for now, I'm kind of proud of how much diverse we are. We are diverse not only in countries, we all belong to different countries like Spain, Italy, France, Norway, and also Canada, but Canada, Vietnam as well. So, you know, even if we are not all the diverse that I would want right now, but we are diverse also in sexuality and in genders. I noticed that the ideas that we have in the in the game for the game are very different from the ideas that maybe we would have if we were not be this diverse. So it seems super obvious, like that diversity, and we every day we are hearing about diversity. But the thing is that we don't need to only talk about diversity, but actually practice diversity. And many of us, we've been in the past being criticized because of being different, but being different makes a difference, right? So I think it's super important to tackle diversity in the good way, and to have inputs from different people from different sides of the world, and with different experiences and situations. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about Three of Cups games a little bit more. So we started making our game Ruru the last year in 2019, but I didn't think about making a company from that back then, because it didn't come to my mind. But then, after working for some months for our game in 2019, I needed to start looking for a job. So even though I'm a person with experience, and I had I had a master in game design. I went to uni and all this stuff. It was so difficult for me to find uh, a job in the games industry. That all the time that I went to an interview, there was always males, of course. But even though if they were super nice with me, there was always someone that said that maybe I didn't have enough experience, or maybe I need a little bit more of technical experience, or like that here we don't make emotional games at all, right? So it was all the time like that. So all of those things were super toxic for me and my mental health. And then I was not prepared for kind of approach that back then, because I thought that, well, maybe it's true that I don't have enough experience, so maybe I need just to train more, which is, I mean, it's true in the sense of like we always can improve. But the curious thing is that for marginalized genders in the games industry, we always need to improve, while a male that is just recently graduated always finds uh, a role in the games industry, fresh graduated. So like it's a complicated thing. So I decided to fund it Three of Cups games in March, because well, I needed it for applying for some grants for getting funds for the game. but also because I was tired of applying to game companies that treated people like shit and that didn't tackle diversity. Because I think like diversity is not only to put in your in your nick of Twitter a hashtag with Black Lives Matter, but it's also a thing that you do every day, since like from your companies and from your workplace, and even if you are not a leader, you can do lots of things in the games industry for this, and also for helping women and for helping other people. So this is what I wanted to do with Three of Cups games, to tackle diversity, to kind of change the world through games, because I believe that games have big potential for changing the world and help other people. And also because I wanted to make emotional games, because even though you are not making emotional games, you are making emotional games, and I want to demonstrate that. And also because I believe in people, and I think that it would be awesome if Three of Cups games and more studios like mine are able to get funds and to make games and to demonstrate to the world that another way of making games is possible. So that's all. Thank you.